This video is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Keep watching for more information and a special offer. This year on October the 3rd, Germany will be celebrating 30 years of reunification. Oh, but hang on, you might be saying, October this year? Surely the 30th anniversary was November last year. Well, no, that was something else. So in this video I'm going to briefly talk about the history and also a little bit about just how successful reunification has been. Okay, so if you're thinking of that night in November 1989 with people dancing on top of the Berlin Wall, that was not reunification. That was just the collapse of the Iron Curtain. There were still two countries in existence, the Federal Republic of Germany in the west and the so-called German Democratic Republic in the east. I say so-called because, like most countries with the word democratic in their official name, it wasn't democratic. There was also West Berlin, which was in a really weird situation. It didn't exactly count as part of West Germany, but it sort of was, and it was completely surrounded by East Germany. For over 40 years, these two countries had developed on completely different lines. They had totally different economies, different laws, different ways of organizing local government, different everything. Reunification was never going to be easy. You can't just take a command economy and switch it over to a market economy overnight. So it was a bit of a surprise that Germany was reunified less than a year later, on the 3rd of October 1990. On that date, the German Democratic Republic ceased to exist. Its 14 districts plus East Berlin were dissolved and replaced by larger states to become part of the Federal Republic. And that's why former West Germany is sometimes referred to as the Old States and former East Germany as the New States. It is a huge task to reunite two completely different territories. In this short video, there is absolutely no way I can even begin to explain just how huge this task was, how many changes would have to be made, how many lives would be radically altered. You might think that a sensible way of doing it would be to allow East Germany to continue as a separate country for a few years while it reformed its legal, political and economic systems until it was ready to join the Federal Republic. But that didn't happen because there was a huge problem. The East German economy was on the point of collapse. It had been seriously mismanaged for decades and the government had spent the time papering over the cracks. Perhaps East Germany might have held on for just a while longer, but in the Federal Republic, elections were due in December 1990. It was judged unfair to have 17 million people become citizens just after the elections and then have to wait 4 years for the next. There are deadlines for candidates and voters to register, time needed to organise an election, and so October the 3rd was chosen as the last possible date for reunification. Now that may have saved East Germany from total economic ruin, but if you ask me, it also meant that reunification happened before anybody was quite ready for it. Here's the problem. What happens if you take a number of companies with no experience of a market economy and have them taken over by companies with lots of experience of a market economy? And what happens if you have a housing market with no experience of property speculators and have it taken over by property speculators? What happens is a lot of very disappointed citizens who feel that they're working for their West German masters to pay rent to their West German landlords and being ripped off by both. Okay, that's both an exaggeration and a simplification, and I can't pretend to be speaking for everybody, but the signs are there. For many East Germans, reunification has not been all good. Yes, they have many more basic freedoms than before, but on the other hand, life has got a lot more complicated. So young people are moving west in search of better opportunities, leaving the new states with populations that are getting smaller, older and less wealthy. That has got to be frustrating, and it's no wonder that so many people over there feel let down by the political establishment. Back in the early 90s, when I was studying at university, one history professor predicted that the real process of reunification would take at least 40 years. So let's see what the next 10 years bring. Many thanks to ExpressVPN for continuing to support this channel. If you need a secure and reliable VPN service, use this address or the link in the description to sign up to ExpressVPN. If you sign up for a 12-month subscription, you get the first 3 months absolutely free and a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you have a housing... And what happens if you have a housing... a housing market. Have a housing. What happens if you have And what happens if you have a housing... oh God.